I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you!
Welcome, chocolatiers, to another video. So today we are talking about a film I'm very, very excited to talk about. That is Obsession. So Obsession is starring Michael Johnston and Indy Navarrete. And this film is coming to us by Curry Barker. Now, I have been a big fan of his for a while. Very much in the renaissance of like where people were excited about Chris Stuckman's movie and even Markiplier's movie. And I feel like this was the race I had my horse in, you know. I am a big fan of his skits, like, you know, the One Bad Idea. And then on his YouTube channel, he's dropped a feature film, Milk and Cereal, that I think is really, really great. And he even has like a bunch of horror shorts on there, and they're awesome. And so to know that this film went to festivals last year, got picked up by Blumhouse and Focus Features, and was coming out, I was very, very excited. So much so that I had people looking at me crazy when I said this was my second most anticipated film of the year, right behind Dune Part 3. And and that's what's so funny. If Dune wasn't coming out, this would be number one for me. And the reason why is because of all this talent. Because even like Indy Navarrete, you know, watching her in multiple projects, most notably and most recently, I guess you would say, Superman and Lois, kept trying to put my friends on that. No, they're like, oh, it's CW. I was like, no, it's not like that. I was like, it's really good. And nobody I knew watched that either. And so it's just a big culmination of stuff that I love. Actors and a director that seems like he's got the passion, he's got the know, he's got the guff. And for Focus Features to come in, Blumhouse a little hit or miss, but Focus Features would have me, tells me all I need to know. Especially with him having another film coming out soon, I believe next year, with Aaron Paul and Bryce Dallas Howard, that looks really, really interesting. And then also getting picked up for New Texas Chainsaw. I was like, they know something that we don't. And let me tell y'all something. Absolute cinema. They absolutely cooked right here. So Obsession, like I said, already stars Michael Johnston and Indy Navarrete. And basically, Michael Johnston's character of Bear is in love with Indy Navarete's character, Nikki. And that's what, already out the gate, I love how the title suggests one thing, but actually means another thing. This movie is very complex, like a book. That's why I really love it. And I want to watch it again because I'm sure there's things I didn't catch the first viewing. There's things I caught the first, you know, maybe I'll catch a different way. Maybe I'll feel a different way about it now that I know how it ends and stuff. And for example, let's start with the title, Obsession. You think, and I thought, oh, okay, like, you know, she's obsessed, you know, Nikki, like, you put a spell on her, she's obsessed. But really what I love about it is that it's really Bear that's obsessed. Like, you know, he's the one that's in love with her. He's the one clearly putting a spell on her, this, whatever. And like, you think about it, like, you're like, yeah, like, he's really the one that's obsessed. And what I really, really appreciate about this movie is, you know, almost his subject matter. Because like I said, it's very complex. So let's go and do a deep dive into it. Let's go and get to the plot. And then we'll get into basically kind of like a full mini breakdown. And then into my final score. Basically, like I said, this plot revolves around these two characters, pretty much their two leads. And Bear goes to a store to go get her a replacement necklace because she drops a necklace that she really loved down the drain. And while he's there, because it's like a crystal necklace, so he's kind of going to one of those types of shops where you sell like charms and stuff like that. And he finds a one Wish Willow, and it basically like, make a wish, whatever, he's going to give it to her. And he's been practicing as the movie starts out, you know, trying to ask her out and stuff like that. He doesn't really know how to. His friend's not being a great help. And you can tell he's very, very nervous. Very much of... And what I've been reading, that's why I hate getting online. What I've been reading online, I feel like a lot of people are reading stuff the wrong way. I don't think it's trying to put up a pedestal of like, oh man, like, look, he's just a good guy, whatever. I think he actually genuinely, at least the beginning, is a good, like he's very nervous, he's very timid. Even like that, what I love about this movie too is that they don't really get into everybody's home lives. Like, for example, you don't really know anything about anybody's families outside of just his friend group. And what I really love about this friend group is that their main sin in this film is that they're all so hard pressed to not be open with each other. Like, they're not really open, they're not really honest, they're just kind of just friends. And so that's why Nikki and Bear are kind of tight, because she's a little bit more honest about things that she wants to do in her life, like writing and stuff like that, and, you know, quitting a job that they all work at together, and how I guess they met. And same with Bear, you know, he's really a closed book, which, you know, Nikki, I guess, has mentioned him in the past. They talk about like some previous conversations with them. And And it stays like that. Like I said, you really don't learn anything about these characters, and I really like that because it's just taking it at face value, so you can take these characters at face value. So if this, like, it's starting kind of in the middle of the story, like they've known each other for a minute, and I really love that. And so he ends up not being able to tell her how he feels, and it's kind of funny too because he actually gets given the chance. If you've seen the trailer, he gets given the chance to tell her, and he doesn't. Again, he's very cowardly and very nervous, and he ends up, just kind of out of spite. He's like, I wish she loved me more than anybody in the world, and snaps the willow. And what I think's interesting also is kind of how this film is played out, because for the first act of the film, everything that happens, even at that point in time, you're weirdly aligned with different people in this film at the beginning, because Bear's character, for example, has no idea what's going on. Nobody believes that a wish like that will work. That's why I think he does it. He's like, it's a stupid toy. Wasn't going to give it to her. I didn't give it to her or whatever because I was too nervous to tell her anything. So I kept it myself and I just did that. And clearly you have bad intentions making a wish like that anyways. But at the same time, it ain't going to work. But of course it does. And so after him kind of like playing it off of it, like, she's just high. She was just on drugs, whatever, this and that. There's a second night that's involved where she comes to his house and some things progress and stuff like that. And then that's when we get into our villain arc, because our main character is basically a villain. I don't want to spoil anything, but there is because that's what I thought watching this movie. I was like, anytime they're kissing or like hooking up or doing anything, I was like, it's against our will. And I was like, our main character is willingly doing this. And that's why I said at the beginning of the film, I kind of like how it's framed, because it's like, he doesn't know, but he knows pretty soon. He's not stupid. He finds out pretty soon, and he keeps doing it. I said, what a monster. And so, like I said, really love how this film's framed out, because, this film isn't, I feel like, your regular film where it's like, we're just trying to figure out how to stop this wish, or this and that, whatever. Like I said, our main character is a villain. And so literally, there's like the scene that you see, like the intro scene that we got from the teaser, not the intro, that's not the intro, but like the first teaser we got, like, where he's calling the back of the thing and Curry Barker's doing the voice of the guy on the phone. There's something that happens in that scene where it's pretty obvious that, like, at no point he wants to really stop this wish. He's just like, can I whatever, like, can I alter it? It's like, dude, are you alright? And that's why I say I love the title so much too, because it goes hand in hand. He is obsessed. Like, he doesn't want to let this go. He just wants it to fit his needs. I was like, oh my God, what an awful man. What an awful person. And now let's get into the performances. I've already been talking about him a little too much. His performance is awesome. Okay, he plays this role perfectly, because even like that, I feel like the movie does these things where it's like, he's just like a little nerdy, whatever, this and that, whatever. It's like, no, he knows what he's doing though, man. And until something finally, there's too many times stuff happens in this movie, he's like, well, and I'm like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? And then finally something happens, like, fully at the end, that I'm not going to get into, but like, he finally's like, man, he's like, maybe I should lock in gears. Like, maybe you should lock in gears an hour and a half ago. Now, I want to talk about Indy Navarrete, because she just does such a great job in this film. Give her flowers. I know that a lot of people like throw that Oscar word out there, and a lot of people get mad when you do that. But man, oh man, dude. Like, so far, she's my favorite performance of the year. So far. I know it's just May, but like, man, dude. Like, she just does such an amazing job in this role of playing somebody basically trapped in a situation they don't want to be in, but like they can't get out. Like, she's basically like trapped in her body. And even like that, there's so much weird body horror that I didn't realize you could do with this. Because, for example, like, you've got stuff like, I hit myself, or like, she's hurting, like you said, the scene that you're like, where she's bleeding. And, like, you've got stuff like that, right? But there's so many scenes where, like, for example, there's a couple, and I won't tell you what happened, but there's a couple shots you see, like, in the dark. Fuck that. There is a bedroom scene that happens. I think it's the first one that happens. I'm telling you, Bear ain't, that's why I mean he's a villain. He ain't too much of a coward. Ain't no way after that first night, I'm done. I've left the country. I'm gone. I'm gone. Now I am black, but I'm gone. I've left. I understand it's a horror movie. I get it. I'm gone. Hell no. And even like that, you have like Curry just does such a great job with the camera. You have so many like kind of like mini references to films, like almost like a Hereditary, like a Possession, for example, like some of those shots. There's so many things they get her to do with her body, which I'm pretty sure are like practical. Like I think she's actually doing this stuff. Or like she's like moving really fast and like kind of stuff. It's weird. Like it's almost like she feels like animatronic or like almost CGI, but I'm pretty sure it's not, which makes it scarier. And that's what's so funny too. I don't think this is like a scary movie in a traditional sense of like, oh my God, she's coming for me. It's just like the idea is scary. Like imagine being trapped. Imagine you're Nikki. You're trapped in your body. You're being kissed on. You're being fed. You're being hooked up with whole 9 yards. And you can't do anything because some guy's obsessed with you. That's insane. And so the whole time you're feeling for her. And just this performance she gives, like there's like a scene, for example, like where they all hang out as friends, like almost I would say towards the end of the film, so kind of like second act or whatever. And it's just so brilliantly played out. And even like that, there's so many levels of comedy to this film, which I know Curry, like I've told you, like his skits and stuff like that, he has worked really well when it comes to comedy. But like even like that, even like it's scary, and even though you're like, oh my God, you're paranoid about what's going to happen, you know what's going to happen, the level of comedy I feel like still works. There's a scene where, and actually I'll go and tell you, there's like a little mini scene where Bear, like they're playing like this game or whatever, and they're like having to do things on like these kind of like these like Jenga blocks, and Bear has to like, he like either have to do it or drink, and he has like kissed somebody to his left, and like she literally walks over there and she pulls the girl back, and she comes down there and like sits down and leans so he can like kiss her, and like it's just stuff like that, just the way she moves, the way she presents herself. There's that restaurant scene they released like 2 weeks ago where like, you know, he asked her just a basic question just about something that she told him, and like she just starts getting up and she does that little smile and she just starts like just yelling, screaming, and like I said, outside looking in, you're watching a trailer like, oh man, he put this witch on her, she's acting crazy. No, like it's something about it. It's something about it, man, that is just, it just really like engaged me. And I told the boys about it. I said, guys, gotta go watch this. Of course, none of them have watched it this weekend. I said, dude, what are y'all doing? What are we talking about? What's going on? I don't understand. I'm just like, dude, go watch Obsession. It's so good. I'm telling you, this audience, go watch this film. It is special. If you are a fan of like a Zach Cregger, like I am, like a Weapons last year, I feel like I would put it kind of in the same vein where it's like a movie that you're excited for because you don't know what's really fully going on. You don't know what twists and turns, whatever. And I feel like it fully surprises you. Now, I know there's always haters out there. I'm sure there's going to be somebody out here that's like, all right, you don't like this movie. But I just feel like even if you don't, performance-wise alone, it's so good. Also, like I said, don't go into this movie thinking, oh my God, I wasn't scared. That's not the point. Yes, it's a horror movie in the category because there's a lot of violence. There's a lot of creepy scenes. There's like I said, that bedroom scene I got me. I was like, okay. I'm like, girl, you gotta sleep outside. Get out. Ain't no way. You couldn't have paid me to stay in that room after what happens. I'd have got up, I'd be like, I will fight you, come at me. No way. No way. And even like that, there's like things she does like with her face. Or like she like I said, I don't know. There's like a lot of play. That's why I compared to Hereditary. There's like a lot of shadow stuff they do where like I'm standing right here and like you just see this, like you don't see my face that they do with her. Haunting. Absolute perfect film. I am giving this a 10 out of 10. I love it so much. I think the twists that we go on, even like that, there's twists you don't see coming. And there's things I want to touch on. I just feel like I don't want to spoil it for you. I will have a spoiler review up on my Patreon and YouTube members, so if you were going to join that anyways, you'll get that. But I don't really post spoiler reviews on my channel. That's why it's going up on there. But I just feel like this is just such a special film. You know, I feel like it's one of those things that you can debate. Like if you're in a film class or something like that, I'm already seeing people debating on it just like from the ride home. I'm seeing a lot of people, I feel like even like that. That's what I love about Curry Barker, because he's already kind of answered some questions outside of stuff about like, especially like, did she really like him before he does this and that, whatever. And I feel like once you get your answer to that stuff based on what he said, you kind of have to take it like he's a director, like he made it. But even like that though, you have so many things like that where it's like you kind of like me, like when watching the trailer, I was like picking up on hints where I'm like, I think maybe if he would have just, you know, whatever, if he would have just not been like that and wouldn't have been a coward, maybe she did like him, but maybe she didn't. And I feel like there's going to be two different sides. It's like, I feel like somebody's going to watch this and go, well, if he just would have been normal, maybe she would have been. But it's like, there's going to be other people that are like, yeah, he should have done that. But like, even if he wouldn't have, she probably would. I just feel like you can be on two sides, especially if you don't read stuff, if you don't get info from online, if you're not sitting over here acting like that, you're just getting all this info and interviews and all this other stuff. I feel like I just don't want you to be swayed. I want you to think how you think. So that's why when you comment down below, comment the hell out of this video. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think? Even like that, real quick, there's like two cool scenes I really love about stuff that the friends say, for example. And I saw that like on the way home. Like people are like, well, they said this and that. I can't tell you, but there's like things. Like I said, this friend group kind of sucks. Anyways, it kind of showed that. But these friends have so much to gain from things happening. I just feel like it's also thrown out there kind of loosely without them fully saying it. It's like, how do you know if you can trust what they're saying? Like, how do you know if they're coming from a place of this or that because of certain things? I got to talk about this in spoilers. But yeah, with that, thank you so much for watching. 10 out of 10 for me. Like, subscribe. That is perfectly free for you, helps with the algorithm. And if not, if you want to go above and beyond, I want to thank my Patreon producers. You can be just like them, support the channel. There will be a link down below in the description if you want to join the Patreon directly, or you can hit the YouTube join button. You'll get the same videos over there, spoiler reviews, movie vlogs, like you'll get a movie vlog for this movie, along with out-of-theater reactions and game reviews and stuff like that. And so, yes, I love this movie so much. It is everything that I wanted to live up to the hype for. And even like that, I thought it was going to be kind of basic, and even that I was excited for. But the fact that it took so many complex turns, so many crazy twists, and just a bleak ending, man. And I love that in horror. Reminded me very much of like when I first watched Talk to Me. Absolutely insane, man. And yeah, with that, I'll catch you guys on the next one.